What's your name?
Brenton.
Branson?
Weather radar.
Okay, weather radar is a good one. We have that. And we'll show it to you in a little bit, okay? What else?
A lot of food.
Okay, food is very important. What can you do if you don't have a lot of food?
You could make...
Catch fish.
Yeah, fish.
Yeah, that's right. What else?
Clean water.
Okay, clean water, very important. You can't drink salt water, right? You all know that. So you can't carry enough water to get around the world. So we have what's called a water maker on board, okay? And a water maker is a reverse osmosis system. It takes the salt and most of the other minerals out of the water, makes fresh water. We have 215 gallons of water storage on board, and we can fill those tanks up in about a half a day with our water maker. Yeah, so
I have a question.
Sure.
I forgot what it's called, but like, where do you get like your black waste? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, okay, black water.
Yeah, where do you put your black water?
Okay, very important question. Plumbing. All you guys are guys, with one exception, I think. I learned a long time ago that if you want to keep the first mate happy on a boat, make sure the plumbing works. Okay, that means the toilets work, they don't clog up. It means the holding tanks, which is your question. When you use the toilet on the boat, if you're not out at sea, like when you're in port here, you put it all in a holding tank. And when you go into the various marinas, they have pump outs. Okay? Once you're 3 miles from shore, you're allowed to pump it overboard. Okay? What else? So we've covered water. What else?
Life vest?
Life vest, like you're all wearing. Okay, there's a lot of safety equipment that's required on a boat this size. Okay, everything from, if you see the big white box on the deck there in front of that blue sail, okay, that's a life raft. That's a 6-man life raft. So if this boat goes down, when the boat gets 5 meters underwater or 15 feet, that will automatically inflate and pop to the surface if you don't have time to deploy it otherwise. Okay, we also have obviously lots of life jackets for everybody on board. We have flares, we have flare guns, we have mirror light signals, we have lots of radios. We have what's called an EPIRB. Anybody know what an EPIRB is? An EPIRB is an automatic device that when it goes in the water, it puts out a radio signal to a satellite. And that sets in motion a whole chain of maritime safety and shipping interests that will come to your rescue basically anywhere on the planet. They'll divert tankers to get you if they get that signal. Lots of things happen if you set that off. You don't want to do it by accident. Okay, what else?
So many other questions.
How do you find your way?
Yes.
GPS, okay. What happens if all your electronics go out and you can't find your way? What do? You use the stars, or the sun is usually what most people use because it's a lot easier. You can take a noon sun sighting. And we have charts. We have lots of electronic charting systems. I have 2 of them or 3 of them up to display for you when we walk around the boat. And we also have some handheld GPSs that have charts in them, and we carry a lot of batteries. In today's world, it's pretty unlikely that you would lose all that. You might lose your ship's electronics and all this would go down. So let's talk about power. What do you think runs all these electronics on this boat? Let's hear from somebody different. What do you think? What do you think runs all the electronics on this boat? How do you power it? What does she power that camera with? Batteries. Okay, we have very, very big, what they call 8D batteries. They're about this wide, or this long, and about this wide, and about this high. And we have 3 of them. And we can run all the electronics on this boat all day with those batteries. So if you have batteries run out, right? These aren't the kind of batteries that you throw away like in the camera. These are the kind of batteries that you have in your car that you recharge it. So how do you think we recharge the batteries on the boat? Okay, we have 3 ways. Okay, this is a sailboat, so hopefully and ideally the motor's not running very often. We have a pretty big 75 horsepower motor on this boat, but we don't like to use it because this is a sailboat. So the motor, like your car, has an alternator, and the alternator creates electricity and charges the batteries. But when we don't have the motor running, which is the ideal situation, we have back up here, which you can stand up and look at when we're walking around, there's 4 solar panels. Okay? And those solar panels will put about, depending how much electronics we run in a day on this boat, in cruising mode it will run the boat all day if it's sunny. In liveaboard mode, when we're running TVs and all that, not so much. But when we're out cruising for a long time, going up the coast to Alaska or down in Mexico, we can pretty much run the boat with the solar panels. The other alternative is, because we still don't want to run the motor because that uses a lot of fuel, we have a generator on board. Okay, and the generator only burns about a half a gallon of diesel an hour, so we can run that. You know, we hold 120 gallons of diesel, plus we have auxiliary cans that we put diesel in, and we actually have some deflatable bladders that go on deck that hold 50 gallons. So we can carry about 200 gallons of fuel on this boat. That'll take us just short of 1,000 miles.
Jeez.
If we had no wind, we were caught in the doldrums in the middle of the ocean, we can go about 1,000 miles with what we carry aboard.
At what speed?
We cruise at 7.2 knots under power, and sailing we can do about, whole speed's about 8.5, so 15 knots of wind, we can do 8.5 or 9 knots.
How many miles an hour is knots?
Okay, 1 knot, a nautical mile is a little longer than a statute mile that you're used to in your car. So if you go 1 nautical mile at sea, you've actually gone 1.16 statute miles. So it's a little longer. So if I say we've gone 15,000 miles on the boat, if you think in terms of your car, that's a little closer to 17,000 miles. You know, across the land. Those are called statute miles, and on a boat we use nautical miles. Because a 1 nautical mile is a minute of latitude.
Okay, I've got a question.
Okay, you don't get a question.
How old were you when you started sailing, and how did you get started?
Well, I already told these kids we were up camping.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Oh,
I took
sorry,
sailing.
sorry.
I learned to sail right here. I came for 1 week one summer, and I loved it so much I twisted my parents' arm and came back the next. And in between those 2 summers, I went home and I built a little Sabbath in the garage, which is a little 8-foot sailing dinghy. And yep, this is right the spot where I learned 51 years ago. I'm an old guy. What else can I ask you before we go touring? Okay, start counting off. You're 1, you're 2, go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, all the way around. Start with you.
1, 2.
Okay, 1's here with me. We're going downstairs.